And good evening, Pittsburgh. Hello, welcome, wherever you might be. John Phillips here. We got a couple people already hanging out on the stream. We'll let a few more get in here. I'm pretty sure everybody can hear me, so I think we're in good shape. This is Pittsburgh Sports Tonight. I said I was going to have an announcement at the top of the broadcast. I will let a few more folks get in here. Hope you had a nice weekend. Gorgeous day. Real nice day out. I was driving around the South Hills of Pittsburgh for work today and had just a nice morning and afternoon and got home, ate a little bit of dinner, and now we're here talking a little bit of sports with you. And we'll have a nice show for you tonight. We got Trey Carney. If you've ever seen him on X, Trey Carney Media, he does Steelers coverage. He does a lot of Steelers coverage, actually. You should go check him out on X. He's going to be joining us in about 15 minutes. Trey does a lot of work to talk about the Steelers. You can check him out at Carney Media on X if you wish. And at 7:40 p.m. tonight, Jerry DePaul is going to join us as well. Okay, what's the big announcement? You know, when I started doing Steel City Sunday a few months ago, it was my intention to, just do a Steelers pregame show. I wanted some opportunity to work with old friends, most notably John Fedko, Paul Zeiss, Jerry DePaula, who I had worked with previously in my professional career, which now is over 30 years, as crazy as that is. I do write for the Tribune Review. I cover the Riverhounds, and I write some features for them, and that's been fun as well. But when I started doing this, the intention was to do it right, to do it the best I could, to give it everything I had. And I thought we did that in the fall. When we gathered on game days and we tried to promote beforehand, I thought, our efforts on game day especially were pretty good. I was pretty happy with everything. And as the season game came to an end, the idea was to, try to expand what we're doing in 2026. And that was me coming on the air 3 nights a week and just talking for an hour. And, at first it was a night, and then it became 2 nights, and then we went to 3 nights. And, I was kind of toying around with the idea of doing 4 nights. But as my schedule has picked up at work, and I wish I was 20 years younger. I wish I was 20 years younger. I wish I didn't have the schedule that I do. I wish I didn't have the responsibility that I do. But tonight's going to be the last show for a while. I don't see myself coming back. Last week I did 1 show on Tuesday night, and I was sick as a dog while in the upstate of South Carolina. I don't even know how I pulled off Tuesday night. I was pretty sick. Wednesday was even worse. I did not feel well, but I motored through it. Monday I was traveling to Virginia. I got a call at 4:45 p.m. on Monday, and by 5 o'clock, which was 15 minutes later, I had packed a bag, and I was 5.5 hours in the car to Blacksburg, Virginia, to do some early morning meets with my ownership, and then off to South Carolina. I went for 4 days. The week prior to that, I was in Memphis, and we did a show on Monday, and that was kindly hosted by Bill Akins, and I was able to join him once I got done with what I was doing. For about half hour, 40 minutes down on Beale Street. I didn't do a show Tuesday and Wednesday. And yeah, I am home this week, but, after having a long conversation with my wife over the weekend and again today, and I had thought about it as it was in terms of what I was willing to do. It just came to the realization today that my time is there's only so much of it. It's finite. Right? There's only so much time in a day. And when you are committed to what I'm committed to during the daytime, and I work in the construction business, I think I've made that pretty clear to everybody. I have to commit to that. I have to commit to that because it puts the bread on the table, and it takes It takes care of my family. And as much as I've enjoyed doing this, I can't do it on a consistent basis as much as I want to. And it's hard. It's hard to make that decision. But this will be the last show tonight, unfortunately. And as much as I'll continue to do some shorts for YouTube. You'll continue to see me on X from time to time. I'll post those shorts on X. But this will be the last one for tonight. You know, I want to put something together for the draft, but I want to do it right. I think we'll probably come back in the fall. I think that will happen no matter what. But as much as I want to, give you 3 nights a week, as much as I want to come on and just chat, I can't right now. And I can't even commit to 1 night a week consistently. That's the hard part. And I've had fun. It's been a vanity project, as I've said. It's been a vanity project mostly. But this will be the last show for the foreseeable future. I think we'll be back in the fall. I want to come back for the draft. We'll see how that plays out in the next month or so. But this will be the last show for this evening. And I can't thank you folks enough. You've been great. However many of you show up each night, it's been enjoyable. Who knows, down the road, maybe my schedule will change, but I doubt it. It's going to get harder and busier. But that's okay. I want it to be hard and busy. That's the only way that you make a living in what I do. And when I'm hard and busy, it's a good living. And they're not going to pay some 56-year-old palooka from Braddock Hills what I make elsewhere. So I have to make some hard choices, and I can't thank the the good folks at It's a Wrap and Maddie B. We'll see what happens. If some big things happen, maybe we'll pop on from time to time. But right now, I cannot commit to anything past this evening, and that's just the way it's got to be, unfortunately. But a big day for the Steelers, obviously a big day in the NFL. We're going to spend the next 50 minutes talking about it. Trey Carney will be joining us here in about 5 or 10 minutes. So we'll get into it with him a little bit. Of course, this is the tamper-free period in the next 2 days. Technically, things kind of kicked off, I think, around noon or 1 o'clock today, where teams could start, making some sort of announcements as to what was going to happen. And I want to, again, thank everybody who's checking out the show this evening. But, the point of the matter is that the Steelers made some moves today. Obviously, a pretty busy day for the Steelers in the NFL. And it starts with Michael Pittman Jr., the Steelers, are going to sign him. They're actually going to do a deal where they swap 3rd-round picks. It's like a 3-year deal worth $59 million. So the Steelers now have a wide receiver too. And I don't think that they're done yet in terms of wide receivers. I don't know if they're going to go out and make any more big splash plays in the free agent market. How you doing, Ralph? Good to see you. Thanks for checking in this evening from out, I believe you're in Maryland to this evening. Thanks for tuning in. The simple fact of the matter is that they went out and filled a void today. They filled a pretty big void by going out and getting Michael Pittman Jr. And so that was the start of things for the Steelers today, which I found to be pretty interesting for them. The good news is that they now have a wide receiver too for the next 3 years. As I mentioned, it's going to be a trade where they swap out 3rd-round picks. And then, of course, Pittman is going to get a new contract. Looks like the terms are going to be 3 years, $59 million. There obviously were some other moves today for the Steelers. Malik Willis is off the board. He's going to Miami, it looks like, that according to Adam Schefter. The Steelers also did make some other moves. They lost Kenny Gainwell today. Kenny Gainwell signing a 2-year, $14 million contract with Tampa Bay. The Steelers also are going to pick up a cornerback, Jamel Dean, 3-year, $36.75 million deal per Ian Rappaport of NFL Network. He has spent his first 7 seasons in the NFL with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's only 29 years old. So the Steelers have 2 major signings today in the early phase of tamper-free free agency. Lots of teams working out deals. So the Steelers definitely have made some moves, and will continue to make some as the free agent signing period truly kicks off on Wednesday. The NFL did announce a few hours ago a compensatory picks for 2026. The Steelers have been given 4, a third-round pick, the 99th overall, round 4, 135, a couple in the 6th round, numbers 214 and 216 for the Steelers. So that's the black and gold news I think we have to this point. Kenny Pickett made some news today. He's going to sign a 1-year deal with the Carolina Panthers. There's been some talk about Patrick Queen getting traded. Maybe Dallas has some interest in him. Lots of Steelers news. If you have something you want to make a comment on, please do so. You are welcome to do so. Yes, Ralph in Ocean City. Love Ocean City. Made our first trip to Ocean City last summer for vacation. It was quite enjoyable. I can see why so many Yinzers love going to Ocean City. Had a really nice time down there. Really nice area of the country. Anything on the coast is good. As I was in South Carolina last week, my intention was to cover the Riverhouse opener on Saturday, but it did not happen. I actually ended up coming back home, and part of the, being on the road all the time and trying to squeeze in some, ancillary stuff while you're working, that didn't happen for me. I miss the coast. I miss living on the coast, pretty damn close to the coast, if you will. But Ocean City is a beautiful spot for sure. If you've never been there, shame on you. You should probably get there. Hopefully Trey Carney will be joining us shortly. We'll talk with him about all the Steelers news from the day. If you have any thoughts on the Steelers, you are welcome to share them with us. And we appreciate the nice little audience that we've had already this evening, kind of checking us out. We appreciate it. And again, if you're just joining us, this will be the last show for a while, probably until the fall. We'll see how things play out. I have to devote more time to business and family and some other things as well that I won't get into, but that's kind of where I'm at in life right now. As much as I'd like to do this show 4 or 5 nights a week for 3 or 4 hours, I can't. Last couple of weeks, it was pretty hard just to even commit to, having one show. And so that's a tough one for me, but nonetheless, everybody that has participated, who's worked alongside of me, the people that have committed their time is much appreciated. Okay, Trey Carney is backstage. Let's get this gentleman on. He works really hard. Carney Media on X. Trey Carney joining us this evening. How you doing, Trey? Good evening, sir.
Good. How are you?
We're just kind of getting along here. A busy. You and I kind of chatted a little bit about this via text message today. The NFL has a way. The NFL has a certain way of just commanding headlines 24/7, 365. This is the tamper-free portion of free agency, and all the news breaks on Monday, of course, leading into the actual start of free agency. All right, Marvin Harrison going to be coming to Pittsburgh, 3 years, $59 million. The Steelers are going to swap some third-round picks. Your thoughts on the move there with Mr. Harrison?
Michael Pittman.
I'm sorry, Michael Pittman. Excuse me. Thank you. Yes, I'm sorry.
I thought you were about to break some news to me.
No. Mike. Yeah, sorry, Michael Pittman. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't kind of a receiver really on my radar. I was really looking at the Jalen Waddle and Brian Thomas talks, with Jaguars kind of this past season, didn't utilize Thomas as much because with them acquiring Jacoby Myers, giving him his new deal, and then Parker Washington kind of having his breakout year, he's, Thomas is starting to get lost in the shuffle, as well as Jalen Waddle. There's a lot of questions with that roster. Seems like they're just in the full rebuild process. So obviously, they want to get as much draft capital for this year and next as possible. So I thought that might have been a avenue excuse me, that Omar was going to take. And once I saw the news break on Alec Pierce with his contract, there was two options with Pittman there. Either A, kind of do what the Steelers did, give him a new contract where they can allocate some of that money for this year, or B, trade him, as we saw. The contract itself, pretty team friendly, a little annual under 20 mil. I mean, that's a bargain for a top end wide receiver too. Whether they're bringing Aaron Rodgers back or looking at one of these vets, now they put themselves in a better position, especially if we see, where DK kind of disappears or, hopefully doesn't hit another fan. Now they have a wide receiver that can step into that role. So I really do like the Pittman trade. I feel like it was a win all around for the Steelers with contract, the compensation they had to give up, a late pick swap. I mean, that's a no-brainer. And then, finally in the Omar era, finding that wide receiver too that has been eluding him since he's taken over.
Yeah, and look, they muddled through the best they could last year, as it were. I don't think anybody was happy going into the season with no real true wide receiver too, and it showed. I mean, I think it showed offensively for them that they needed that type of player as the season progressed. And as you look at Michael Pittman Jr.'s numbers, I mean, he had a career high for touchdown receptions this year. It wasn't the best of his seasons in Indianapolis, but his best year was 2023 when he caught 109 balls for over 1,100 yards. But they do bring in a really solid number two. And you mentioned Aaron Rodgers, and I wanted to save him, but we might as well just jump right into it. Here, over the weekend, again, the news kind of comes out where he's in no rush. He's in no rush to really go anywhere. And so, I know somebody floated the idea that he could end up in Minnesota. There's, I think somebody had placed Malik Willis. Somebody going to Minnesota. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers. I think, I think at the end of the day, and I know I saw Joe Flacco, some news about Flacco being a possibility here as well. Who knows where the Steelers are going to go in terms of all of this, but if it ends up being Rodgers, they're getting rid of Jonnu Smith, right? I think that news was also over the weekend. Jonnu Smith is no longer going to be part of the team, and I don't think that Rodgers was a big fan of his. You added a solid wide receiver too. Hopefully, the conversations with DK Metcalf are, like you said, please don't touch any more fans during a football game, please. Can we please not do that? And assuming that does happen, they've got 21st pick overall. I would love to see a wide receiver there. Maybe, who knows what they're going to end up doing, right? They could end up with a quarterback there. They could end up with a wide receiver. Lots of speculation, obviously, as we'll head into day 2 of this tamper-free free agency thing. But whoever then quarterback ends up being next year, Trey, they're going to have, I think, better arsenal, although, Kenny Gainwell's leaving. We could talk more about that in a moment. But the wide receivers 1 and 2 are now finally set in stone.
Yeah, so obviously for Aaron, it's Steelers or retirement. I don't see him going anywhere else. He was on Pat McAfee giving high praises to not only McCarthy, but the staff he kind of brought in. So I really don't see him, basically starting over anywhere else. I mean, Steelers, he's already made a home there. Now they brought in a staff that really he's familiar with. And, kind of touch on the first round pick, while they did touch on the wide receiver position with a good pickup in Pittman, this allows Omar kind of to play best available there. So say if Lemon does start dropping, for example, he might pull the trigger on him. Same with Tyson. I know there's been a lot of talk with Tyson's injury history. And so he's been starting to see his stock drop a bit. So, well, I don't think that the wide receiver position is such a big need now in the first round. If the pieces fall in their laps, they'll take it. And I don't count out day 2 them ignoring the position as well. There's a lot of great talent there. One of my favorite guys to take in the second round is Branch out of Georgia. I think he would be a great fit, even with Pittman in. So allowing them to be more flexible is what Omar Khan was looking to get out of this free agency period. And I think he did, not only with Pittman, but also picking up Jamel Dean. I think people forget he was one of the more underrated corners this past season. One of the giving up the lowest passer rating in the league, or one of them. So, in between him and Joey Porter Jr. over the last 2 years, 1 touchdown given up between the both of them. That's really not been seen before. So, I think right now he's just getting started. I think we're going to see a few more pieces, maybe depth wise. Obviously, the Steelers just lost their left guard to the Arizona Cardinals. Him picking up a 3-year, $30+ million deal, which we saw. And there's some pieces there that can be a plug-in. For example, Packers just released Jenkins, who's their center last year, but he's a 2-time Pro Bowler at the left guard position. So he could be a great plug-and-play there. So for Rodgers, I think there's a lot more benefits coming back than probably him signing last year under Mike Tomlin. He's familiar with the staff. Now they're getting weapons. Now there could be more possibilities of weapons. Next time him and Omar talk, they might give him a little bit more insight of what path they're going to take in the draft. So I really do think all roads is pointing to Aaron Rodgers being the starting quarterback in 2026.
I don't disagree with you. He has nowhere to go, I don't think, right? I think you made that pretty clear. And I think for the most part, I think people understood that. I mean, obviously, him playing for Mike Tomlin was, something that was part of his decision-making process. And look, the Steelers, the last 3 years, the quarterback position it's been definitely a quagmire for sure, to say the very least. I'm seeing some reports that looks like Isaac Seumalo is heading to Arizona. So they're going to lose a component to their offensive line. He's going to get $31 million over 3 years. That according to Mike Garofalo. Kenny Gainwell, as I had mentioned, they're going to lose him. $7 million a year for Gainwell. I put him around that $5.5, $6 million range. Are you a little surprised the Steelers didn't try to at least match it or be a player for that? They obviously, with 12 picks, they feel like they can maybe go out in the draft and find themselves a running back, or perhaps the young the rookie, now being his second year, the running back from Iowa, Caleb Johnson, could be somebody who steps up for them.
Yeah, obviously Gainwell had a season to remember. I mean, not many people expected him to have that production, let alone be the team's MVP. I'm not shocked that Khan did not match that. While $7 million might not sound like a lot, but one, as you said, you have Caleb Johnson already in the building. He's someone that they were very high on, and he was one of the best zone runners in college football his senior year. So he hasn't gotten his opportunity yet. I think Jaylen Warren kind of matches that receiving back that they'll probably give him more reps in that position. And there's also a few other running backs out there right now that they could pick up. White out of Tampa Bay, he was that big receiving back before Bucky Irving kind of took over that snap count. And I could see them possibly signing White to that $5 million deal that they were kind of hoping Gainwell would set on. Kenny Gainwell, he deserves all the money he can get after that season. But I think, the position where the running back position is, they got Warren on a good deal. And they also got Caleb Johnson, who really they were excited about coming out of college, kind of got put in the doghouse for the kickoff return that, honestly, I don't really put much blame on. I more put that on the staff that didn't really set them up for success there, because Caleb Johnson took 4 career kickoff returns. But so I think right then and there but who knows, they could surprise us.
Hey, we're seeing some reports now that Rico Dowdle may have perhaps signed with the Steelers as well. I'm trying to get confirmation on
Yeah.
it. The chat's
going nuts.
Okay, look, and I know Omar Khan has taken a lot of flack. By the way, Trey Carney, who does an amazing job of covering the Steelers on X at Carney Media, please go check him out. I'll tell you, you've got some fans here. Listen. I don't know who this Cole Underwood is, but he really loves the beard. He said, he said you look great, but and then solid analysis. Obviously, you fill the X timeline up with a lot of great analysis on the Steelers.
It is actually confirmed by Jordan Schultz. The Steelers are signing Rico Dowdle.
Okay, so a number of the guys, Derpy, Chip 501, Pete Trags were screaming, "Hey, this is happening!" And I'm scanning X trying to find something. So I appreciate you kind of giving me a little bit of more of a insider's confirmation on that. But the Jamel Dean signing today to get a top flight cornerback. Look, we've wanted a wide receiver too. We've gotten that. Is the Jamel Dean signing bigger? What are your thoughts on that?
I think, I'll be honest, I think they're about the same, relatively the same age, both teetering almost 30. Dean's honestly coming off a more impressive season, so I might lean more towards Dean. Obviously, as I touched on, he didn't give up a touchdown. I mean, over the last 2 years, 1 touchdown. I mean, that's impressive enough. And you pair that with Joey Porter Jr., what he's done the last 2 years in Pittsburgh. I mean, that's a good 1-2 punch in that secondary. And now it allows the Steelers to be more flexible with their positions. Jalen Ramsey, we'll see a lot of him in the safety spot, and sharing reps with Eccles in the slot. And that's why I always circle back, why I love the Graham hiring. I think he is the perfect man for this defense. He's a coach that really schemes around his players' strengths. It's not, hey, it's my way or the highway. He does a deep analysis of his talent and then comes out with the game plan. So, picking up Dean really helps them show a lot more. And I'm willing to bet we'll probably see them pick up a few more pieces for Graham, whether that be free agency or actually use their first round to third round picks, something he hasn't had the luxury of seeing in his time in Vegas. I believe the last time I was on here, I think it was only three or four of the Raiders' previous picks during his tenure in Vegas were used on the defense. I mean, that's you're setting him up for failure, yet a deep dive in analytics, his defenses were top 15. So now he's getting the talent. You're giving him players that are versatile. I think we're going to be seeing a Steelers defense that we've been missing since the early 2000s.
And I obviously, when you're in a scenario like the Steelers were 150 plus million on a defense that I think finished 28th, they were a sieve, in terms of, run defense last year. I mean, they were not very good at times, depending on who they had available to them on the defensive side of the football. I felt like, a shake up in the secondary, and you find some sort of you find some sort of way to marry these edge rushers, right? You've got Alex Highsmith, right? You're worried about Nick Herbig. You're worried about the down season that TJ Watt's having. I think Watt's going to come back and have a big year. Mm-hmm. I really do. Look, you could say what you want to about him being on the other side of 30 now, right? Like he just turned 30, right? He got the big contract. Everybody was disappointed with him this past year. You give that defensive line a little bit more chance to kind of find some cohesion. Now you've replaced a guy. You got a top flight cornerback. You feel a young quarterback, right? Like you say, he's 28 or 29 years old. He's not young by any stretch. He's had some pretty good seasons the last few years. You find one or two more key players in that defense that you mix in a little change somewhere. You could see. Look, if they get to top 15, if they get into a top 15 type of scenario next year defensively, the offense is going to improve. You hate to lose Gainwell, but you've already found yourself a wide receiver too. Let's assume that you can find a running back that, or you find more players in the mix that
Well, they just picked up Rico.
Dowdle. So
I
we'll see how he plays out. Right, that's that component right there. So now I don't want to, and again, not trying to predict Super Bowl here, but you are allowing yourself to be in a better position with this new administration coming in, right, with the new head coach to possibly be better than 10-7. That's what I want to say.
Yeah, and I totally agree on that. I mean, it was impressive enough that this Mike Tomlin over the last few years, he was able to finish 10-7 with how bad this defense struggled. And it wasn't because of the talent, it was just where they were set. The coaching set this team up to fail defensively. I mean, some foreign players, I mean, they've called it out. And, obviously they waited until Tomlin was out the door to start talking about it, and that was a whole deal on X. But at the end of the day, I think Mike McCarthy made the right decisions on his staff. There was a few where I'm a little iffy on, especially on the special team coordinator, but I'm willing to let it ride. Let's see what it does. But I think the hire that a lot of people are going to be very happy with when it's said and done is defense coordinator, just off his philosophy, where he's coached, where he's found success, even with as little talent as he's had. Now you're giving him a bunch of brand new toys, upgrades to what he's ever seen. And I think we're about to see a defense that reminds you of the hard-hitting Steelers football that we've all been around.
Yeah, and they have been hard hitting at times, no question about it. And they were good against. In terms of takeaways last year, I think they ended up finishing third or fourth, somewhere in the top. I think it were top 5. So I mean, it wasn't like there was an effort last year, or you didn't see some sort of production. I just took a peek at Rico Dowdle's numbers from last year in Carolina, and look at Carolina for what it's worth. Not a great football team, but he put up some decent numbers for only having 236 rushing attempts this past year. 1,076 yards. That average of 4.6 is not too bad when you really look at it. I know it's a 17-game schedule, obviously, but 236 touches, and to put up those kinds of numbers, weak AFC or NFC South, but nonetheless pretty good altogether. All right, one last question here for the great Trey Carney Media on X, if you want to go check him out. What do you expect day 2? I mean, I like what Homer has done. Again, he's taken a lot of knocks over the years. He's a bean counter. He's not really a GM. He's putting the work in. You know what I mean? He's 25 plus years in the NFL, closer to 30 now. He's putting the work in, and it's paying off. I mean, they had some cap room, obviously, going into this week, and they're exercising some of that. What other surprises do you think Omar has up his sleeve for day 2 before we actually get to real free agency?
I think one of the bigger surprises is I think you're about to see more salary cap become available. I think there's going to be a lot more structuring to that, so they can keep adding quality talent. Obviously, they have a hole to fill in the offensive line. They want to get another wide receiver, so they'll be looking at the available spots. Maybe they're like, we'll keep it in our back pocket, wait until draft day. I think my big prediction is, they're going to sign a pretty good name for their linebacker room.
Okay.
And and it probably be a familiar name to Patrick Graham. It could be Roberts, but it could be let me so I don't mess this up. Oh, goodness gracious.
That's okay. I called Michael Pittman Marvin Harrison this season.
Yeah.
So
But I think they're going to be adding to that linebacker room, not just like a depth piece that we saw them re-signing Cole Holcomb to, which that was a bit of surprise to me. I thought they were going to let him walk with his injuries concerned, but honestly, I kind of like the re-signing of him because when he's healthy, he's a good depth piece for this team. And it's it's a position where we've seen over the last few years that they've kind of, it's been a little lackluster. It's been kind of a disappointment. I mean, Patrick Queen at times has shown that greatness that he can provide to that team, but he's also kind of fell flat on his face. So, I could see them bringing a familiar face in for their defense coordinator, Graham, and Devin White. Devin White, 28 years old, spent some time in Vegas with Graham. He knows Graham's system, and I think he'd be a great piece to put next to Queen, Wilson, and Holcomb. I think, and it will help make that transition of a new defensive scheme a little bit more smooth. But I think
go ahead.
That's where he'll look.
Trey Carney, I appreciate your time, man. It was so good that you reached out today. I'm glad I was able to have you on tonight. I'm telling you, you're a busy guy. I know you're a busy guy during the day, but yet you're just pumping out the content, man. I love it. Absolutely. And it's spot on. You're doing an amazing job. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show. And, we'll talk to you down the road here at some point.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Absolutely. Okay? Always a pleasure to hop on. I'm glad we were able to make this work tonight.
All right. Trey Carney, everybody, at Carney Media. Go check him out on X. Thank you very much, Trey. I appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right. Trey Carney joining us here this evening. A busy day one of tamper-free NFL free agency. I had this conversation with somebody today on a job site. I was just, we just kind of were talking about non-construction related stuff. And he was like, I thought free agency was Wednesday. I said, well, it is, sir. But you see, the NFL, in their infinite wisdom, have created ways to keep themselves in the news cycles 24/7, 365, and certainly during the week leading into the official start of free agency. And that's what you have. You have this tamper-free area over the next 48 hours, which is just going to lead to all kinds of madness. Rico Dowdle signing as we're on the air. Michael Pittman Jr. The Steelers are making work, and they're making things happen, and they're doing it as quickly as they can. And I think it's definitely it's good to see, right? I can remember years where in free agency, this team just did not move any needles. They just didn't move needles. And it's not for anything. It's just the fact of the matter that they just weren't a splash type organization in that regards. They tried to draft and develop, and that's what was that's just how they did it for as long as they did. So, they're going out and they're spending money, and they need to spend money. They need to go out and fill gaps in what they feel like this new, this new leadership that Mike McCarthy is putting forth his new team of people, his assistants, and they've gotten together and they have a clearly structured plan, and they have executed on day one of the tamper-free free agency. They have gone out and they have made made some decisions at least that have allowed them to add some players to their roster. I have somebody telling me that they did not. I have employees that just sometimes they're a little bit difficult. They need money, and have okay. There we go. There they go. These people are like, hey, I need money, and I'm like, hey, I sent it to you 3 hours ago. Sorry about that, folks. This is what I'm talking about. This thing right here is maybe the worst invention of all time. it is just it drives me crazy, this thing right here. And if I end up having 400 people working for me here in the next few months, which is the plan, I'm never going to be able to get rid of that damn thing. It just rears its ugly head. We're hoping to hear from Jerry DePaula soon. I don't know if Jerry got the link. Let's see. Let's hope Jerry joins us here in a few minutes. I hope he's going to come on the air. If not, I can get through the next 20 minutes, no problem. If you're just joining us, last show we're doing for a while, my schedule is just too bonkers. As much as I want to do the show on a regular basis, 3 nights a week, I cannot commit anymore. It's just going to get that crazy for me. I think what I basically told Maddie B at It's a Wrap Sports, and if you're not aware, we work with It's a Wrap Sports Network, It's a Wrap Sports, Maddie B, good people over in Philadelphia. You can check him out 5 nights a week, Philly centric. Nonetheless, go check him out. It's a Wrap Sports and Maddie B, the final word, Sunday through Thursdays. I just don't have the time. I don't have the time, and I want to be able to commit time on a consistent basis. And I did for a period of time, and just things are getting just a little too nuts right now. You're still going to hear from me when it comes to articles that I write for the Trib, covering the Riverhounds. You're still going to hear from me with little shorts that I'll put on YouTube and release those on X and some of the other social media sites. We'll do those because we can fit those in during the day when needed. But the further commitment to an hour 3 nights a week is going to be too daunting. Last week and the week before really proved that with me traveling. I am home this week, but just after a long conversation, several of them with my wife, and just internally in my head, especially last week when I was on the road, I kept thinking to myself, I don't know if I can actually do this, and I want to do it right. And that's the thing. If you're going to commit to coming in here and hanging out, and there's like 50 or 55 of you right now, and that's good numbers for us. Certainly the first day of this tamper-free free agency lends to people being on social media and looking for news. And I appreciate those of you that are hanging out with us right now. God bless all of you. I can't thank you enough. You've been hanging out for a while on X, been our best platform. Can't deny that. We've gotten our most traction from our X page without a doubt. And the YouTube channel, we'll build that out. I'm hoping that in 5 or 6 weeks for the NFL draft, we will have shows. I'm either going to have 4 shows or I'm going to have nothing. And I want to be down in the thick of it all. I'm started to have a few conversations with a couple places. If I can land something, I will. I want the entire crew involved. I want to make sure they're all compensated fairly. That requires sponsorship when you're small like us, but we're working on that. And I think that we're going to get there. I really, really, truly do. Okay. So again, the Steelers, pretty busy day. They committed at least 3 major signings, 2 on the offensive side, 1 on the defensive side. We'll continue to see who leaves. Kenny Gainwell is gone. Isaac Seumalo is gone. There's talk about Patrick Queen possibly being traded to Dallas. We'll see how that plays out. Omar Khan is fixing up a roster that Mike McCarthy is going to deploy in 2026. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I think it's worth saying. I don't think defensively, I said this maybe about a month ago, I think the Steelers can make 3, maybe 4 moves on the defensive side and be in a much different place for 2026. It doesn't take a lot, okay? They have pieces to the puzzle. It's just going to, this new leadership group, right? This new coaching staff has to determine what they have is of value, what they can exploit in terms of who they have, and where are the spots they need to improve, move people out, and move a couple people in. I'm telling you, 3 or 4 moves on the defensive side, and you could very well have a top 15, top 10 defense. I think for what it's worth, TJ Watt is going to have a much better season than he did this past year. I think he will come out firing next year. I think he will. I don't know. I can't explain last year and what happened, why he was subpar. You can talk about his age if you want. You can talk about having the big fat contract if that's what you want. I think he wants to come out of the gate hot and prove that the contract he got was worth the money. But the only way you can show that is by, again, they have to win the division. They have to win 12 games, right? They have to be in that top 3 on the AFC side when the season's done, top 3 or 4, right? We knew that they were a charade, if you will, going into that Houston game, right? They certainly were. They won the division because a rookie kicker missed a 44-yard field goal on the last play of the regular season. That's why they made the playoffs. It wasn't because they were better than Baltimore. I mean, they did beat them twice. I'll give them that. But they got into the playoffs because a rookie kicker missed a 44-yard field goal at the gun. That's why they made the playoffs. Or the Tomlin thing would have happened a week sooner. It would have happened a week sooner. So this is where they're at right now. They are in this position where they have to remake themselves under a new head coach. Mike McCarthy is going to be given every opportunity to build a team that he feels is going to showcase what he's capable of, and those assistants in terms of putting out a fresh product, a new product, right? A different product that we've seen in 19 seasons, and certainly over the last 10. Certainly over the last 10, what we've seen. I think it's going to include Aaron Rodgers, unfortunately. I was happy to kind of just see him go. I mean, initially, wanted him back a week or so ago. Don't really care why you're dragging this out. I wasn't really happy that he still is going to, take his time. But I think that he and the Steelers probably have some sort of understanding at this point in time. I think there's an understanding that it's either, and as Trey mentioned, it's either he's coming back or with the Steelers or he's not. And I have to believe that they are not going to go into free agency or the draft. And I didn't think that Malik Willis or Kyler Murray. I mean, Kyler Murray's the other big one that is kind of just sitting out there right now. I know Tua signed a one-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons today, or at least it has announced that they will sign him to a contract. I think the Steelers are going to be big players for the handful of free agent quarterbacks that were out there. It really does come down to Aaron Rodgers. You're not going out and getting Michael Pittman, and you're not going to let Will Howard throw the ball to him. Right. And again, I think that it is Aaron Rodgers or nothing. And I think it'll end up being Aaron Rodgers. And if you're Aaron Rodgers, yeah, you don't want to lose Kenny Gainwell, but the Steelers have signed Rico Dowdle and they have signed Michael Pittman. And who knows what they're going to do with that first round pick. If Ty Simpson's there, maybe they take him. If he's not available and there is a wide receiver there, there's a pretty good chance that first pick will go to a wide receiver. And that's okay. That's okay. You have 12 picks in 6 weeks. You have 12 picks. You're going to take advantage of every single one of those. I don't have a problem if they don't make any additional moves the remainder of the season. If they don't make any additional moves, that's okay. They've got 12 picks coming up in the draft. Use every single one of them to your advantage. You have to use every single one of them to your advantage if you are looking to make waves in a year or two with the draft picks you have at your disposal. Certainly, when you're getting later in the draft, they're all long shots at that point in time. But you picked up a 3rd round pick today. You picked up a 4th round pick today. That extra 3rd round pick is good. That's good. That's more depth. That's potentially somebody that could develop into a starting role of some kind. That's your hope and goal, right? Your first rounders, you expect to play. Your 2nd and 3rd rounders, you want to see them develop. Your 4th rounders, right? You want to see them develop. Anybody after the 4th round, even 4th round, but even after the 4th round, they're really long shots. You don't know what you're going to get. You need depth. You need to find position players, linemen, interior linemen, linebackers, right? Secondary people. They're all good in those spots because you don't know what you might uncover, right? There are good finds in the later rounds. And a portion of that is luck. A portion of that is absolutely luck. I'm not going to sit here and tell you otherwise. That is definitely part of all of it. All right, just a quick rundown. It looks like Pitt basketball going to the ACC tournament. We'll see if Jeff Capel keeps his job. There is quite a bit of speculation that says he will not. Doesn't matter how much of a run they perhaps make, but they managed to win their remaining few handful of games at Cal, and I believe it was Florida State over the weekend. They get into the ACC tournament. I think they have a game on Wednesday in the ACC tournament. As for the Penguins, Evgeny Malkin, I was in Spartanburg, South Carolina on Thursday, and I tell you, I had a flu bug last week. Man, I'm telling you what, it knocked me for a loop. Thursday, I finally felt halfway decent. I went out to go get something to eat, and I'm sitting down, and they happen to have the Penguins game on, and they're playing Buffalo, of course, and I'm watching the game unfold, and all of a sudden I watch Geno Malkin take his stick and whack some guy. Gets a match penalty, 5-game suspension. The Penguins, so far, they, of course, won yesterday, coming back from the depths of Hades to win in overtime. Somehow they miraculously, I think they were down like 3-1 to Boston at one point in that game, and they managed to come back and win. And of course, they are already without Sidney Crosby, who suffered an injury in the Olympics. But the Penguins are trying to work their way through 3 more games without Evgeny Malkin, who took on a 5-game suspension because he broke the rules. And so that's for Malkin, unfortunately. For the Penguins, I should say, unfortunately. They are without him for at least 3 more games. But they did get a nice win yesterday, a surprising win in overtime over the Boston Bruins. As for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, defending USL champions in soccer, they go to Charleston and lose by a score of 2-1. Didn't look particularly good. I watched it on the tube on Saturday. Not particularly a good start for Rob Vincent in the new era of the Riverhounds. They offensively looked very sluggish. They did score a goal. It was an own goal. Sean Suber, who was a first-team All-Defender last year and a finalist for defensive player honors in the USL, he scored the game's first goal. He signed a 2-year contract with Charleston in the offseason. He's a native of Charlotte, North Carolina. So the Riverhounds lose 2-1. Saturday, they're in Loudoun, Virginia, to take on their Eastern Conference rivals, Loudoun United. I may actually go attend that game and cover it for the newspaper. It's not that far of a drive. And then next Tuesday, it's Open Cup season. U.S. Open Cup begins in earnest. The Riverhounds playing a local team at, I think they're called the Steel Army or the Steel City. Or I can't remember. I have to look it up. But I'll be covering that game next Tuesday. That'll be U.S. Open Cup first round. at Highmark Stadium. I saw an article in the Trib today about the stadium. The price has now jumped up to apparently $175 million, and Tuffy Schallenberger's trying to secure some funding to get things moving along. I went down and covered their last preseason game against Pitt a few weeks ago and was talking to Matt Grubba, the media relations guy for the Riverhounds, about that. They have not secured the funding just yet. They want to start construction. It's going to be a 3-year process if they can get this thing moving along. They had a big muckety-muck event in November at the stadium about it, but the funding has not completely been secured just yet to get this thing rolling along. And, these stadium deals, the NFL, Major League Baseball, the NHL, they have their way with the local authorities. They need money. It gets done, right? They have taxes that take care of things, that the organizations that own the team, they benefit from it. They don't generally have to spend a ton of money out of pocket. Tuffy's a dirt guy and a very successful one at that. But if you want to put a $175 million stadium together, you need to secure some local funding. They're struggling with that right now, and we'll see how that plays out. I know the plan was to start construction during the season, and they want to start that in the south end zone where the facility has their offices. That's the first phase. If they get this thing moving, that's the first phase to start. And then, they would move on over the next few seasons to get to 2028 when that stadium is eventually complete. All right. I want to thank everybody for participating in the show tonight. I can't thank you folks enough. You mean the world to me. I don't care if it's 2 people or 2,000 people. We've had some big crowds. When Mike McCarthy got announced as head coach, we did an emergency show, right, for about an hour and a half, and we had almost a couple thousand people that watched us on X and YouTube. It was pretty amazing. And as we wind down the last few minutes, again, for those of you just hopping on right now, this will be our last broadcast for a while. My schedule's just not allowing me to commit the time that I need to give you folks 3 nights a week, an hour each night. And I'm home right now, and it's nice to be home. But my wife and kids deserve more time from me, and I need to be able to give that to them, especially when I'm in the throngs of what I do for a living. It is a time-consuming scenario, nonstop. I am absolutely at it all day long, every day. It seems like 7 days a week, but I have to make that choice. And the choice, unfortunately, is me having to give up this. And it's hard because I'd love to do a show tomorrow night, and I'd love to do Wednesday night and then say, hey, I'm done. But this is it for a while. If some big things happen, we'll pop on. Maddie B has kind of left the door open for me. I appreciate that. I don't see myself popping on here tomorrow or Wednesday. I can't thank all of you enough for giving me a little bit of your time. It means the world to me at 56. And, the Riverhounds thing at the Trib has been great. But this, I've just been so grateful to have this. Has been very fun, and I'm very happy that each and every one of you continues to just pop in here and comment, and it means a great deal. All right, that's our show for this evening. Until next time, Pittsburgh, I love you very much. John Phillips saying good evening. This has been Pittsburgh Sports Tonight on the It's a Wrap Sports Network.